guys, my name is Amrita and welcome to my YouTube channel Beyond the Horizons. In today's video, I am going to tell you how I study as a college student. Plus, I'm going to be sharing some amazing study tips. I am a second year BA English Literature student. Honestly, when I came to college, I didn't think I'd have to study half as much as I studied in school. Boy, was I wrong. I took commerce in 11th and 12th grade. The subjects were tough, but the material was very on point. You study this, you memorize this, and the questions will be like this. But when it came to studying literature, it was quite different. It was not like you can study this, memorize this, and the output will be this. You have to put a lot of your own input in as well. I have about 5 subjects now, and some subjects require more attention than others because subjects like history require more attention because there are a lot of dates and names that need to be memorized. I used to be someone who used to study the night before the exam, but I've realized that isn't going to work anymore. One of the things that people recommend and I don't follow is keeping a timetable. I'd rather keep to-do lists. The issue is that keeping a timetable divides up your time in a very specific way. Say you expect a certain task to be over in 10 minutes, but what if it takes about 30 minutes for it to be over? In cases like that, if I am supposed to do that and it takes about 30 minutes, I would feel stressed out and I would feel stressed out about doing my other tasks, what I'm supposed to do next, and everything will shift. The time schedules will shift and I wouldn't be able to perform well in my other tasks. So I choose to keep to-do lists, and even in my to-do list, I keep a maximum of 5 things so that I'm not overwhelmed and I can achieve more if I want to add something later in the day. I try to study at least on a weekly basis. I don't like to sit in one place and study. I also like a very clean study area. Otherwise, it'll just be like an open excuse to postpone my studying and clean that. I think one of the most important things to study better is to find out what kind of a learner you are. So there are 4 kinds of learners: visual, auditory, reading or writing learner, and kinesthetic learner. The others are pretty self-explanatory, but kinesthetic means you study by doing something or experimenting something. Some things actually require kinesthetic learning. For example, if you're learning to change a tire, you can't just watch a video or hear someone talk about it or write and learn about it. You have to go and do the practical version of it to understand exactly how it works. Some things actually do require kinesthetic learning, but mostly what we study in colleges and schools can be studied in all of these methods. I've realized that I'm a visual and reading or writing learner, a mixture of both of them. So it does help me when I watch videos regarding the material I'm studying and taking my own notes. That's actually another perk of being a literature student because there's so much material available on the internet about this subject. So it's actually pretty easy to find videos related to this and to learn as a visual learner. I also like to make my own notes other than what the teachers give me. This is mainly because I understand better in my own words. As Einstein said, if you can't explain it simply, you don't understand it well enough. This is actually sort of like a test to me because you have to learn something, understand it, and you have to explain it in your own words, which is actually way harder than it sounds. As a literature student, I also feel obliged to read more than what's on my syllabus, and not just any books. Books that have a critical acclaim or books that are a bit harder to read. So I try to keep a balance between my casual reading and my critical reading. For example, I'm reading Kafka on the Shore by Haruki Murakami right now, and I also just finished Crime and Punishment by Fyodor Dostoevsky. I also make flashcards so that I have small or short notes that I can refer to right before the exam. I also apply this method called active recall. It is basically like, say if you're reading something. If you're reading something, then your brain just has to retain that information. But say someone starts asking you questions from that material, then your brain has to work harder to come up with the answers. So you learn better. But the main thing you should probably do is experiment. You have to experiment with all sorts of study methods and styles. Some tips may not exactly apply to you and will not work for the kind of learner that you are. For example, some people understand just by listening to the class. But for someone like me, I need to listen to the class and take my own notes so that I understand better, so that I learn better. And about taking breaks, I don't necessarily take those 25-minute study, 5-minute break, any kind of those schedules. I don't go according to schedules when it comes to taking breaks. I just take a break whenever I feel exhausted. And the breaks that I take range from 10 minutes to an hour. I don't do anything productive in them, necessarily productive. I try to go and sit out in nature or read a book, not the critical reading, casual reading, something like that. And as for guidebooks, I'm not a fan of using them and I don't use them. I prefer to learn directly from the text itself and make my own understanding of it rather than reading the explanation from a guide and learning from it. I've never actually been a guide person. And one of the best things about college is that you can choose specifically which subject you want to learn. So that is one of the reasons I like studying right now, because I love literature so much that I actually enjoy studying it. I also like to collect some interesting facts or something interesting about what I'm learning so that the whole studying process becomes more interesting. I think these tips apply not just for college students but for school students as well. So this is how I study as a college student, as a literature student. Hope this video was helpful to you and hope you got some study tips from this and that you'll apply it in your own life. And if you did like this video, don't forget to subscribe to my channel, give this video a thumbs up, share this video with your friends and family, and don't forget to comment down below which was your favorite study tip.